the Gilead Crusade. In the 34th millennium, when warp storms sundered the stars and the screams of the damned drowned out prayer, there came a fleet born not merely of steel and fire, but of devotion. Juliana Gilead, warrior saint yet to be canonized, emerged from the immaterium at the head of an imperial crusade, a host of awe and power bound together by righteous purpose. They came to cleanse a system defiled. They came to Gilead. Once a jewel of imperial promise, the Gilead system had become a blight, a festering dominion of the ruinous powers. Its worlds, racked by heresy, teemed with the corrupted and the damned. From the hive-infested Gilead Primus to the blood-drenched soil of Ostia, chaos reigned unchecked. Yet the first blow was struck with fury unbound. The crusade opened with fire and fury. From orbit, the void ships of the Navis Imperialis rained ruin upon Gilead Primus, casting down the spires where traitors had once ruled. For 2 relentless solar weeks, the heavens thundered as fire scoured filth from steel and stone. And when the bombardment waned, the angels of death fell upon the world like a reaping storm. With bolter and blade, the Space Marines made landfall. Amid ash-choked air and crumbling ruins, they brought order by force, silencing the screams of the profane with the wordless language of death. Even as blood cooled on shattered ground, the Absolvers, then still without name, laid the foundation of what would become Castle Gregori, a fortress raised not just from Ferrocrete but from faith, sacrifice and wrath. Under the dome of a great ion shield, they fortified their claim, resisting all that chaos could conjure from the shadows. But victory, so often taken for granted by the righteous, came at great cost. In striking deep into the enemy's heart, the fleet left itself exposed. Heretic void ships struck with venomous precision, severing supply lines and bleeding the crusade of its strength. Ammunition ran thin, machinery failed, yet the Adeptus Astartes stood unmoved, refusing retreat, fighting with fury sharpened by desperation. It was then, at the edge of collapse, that a message came. Among the tech priests of the Mechanicus contingent, one had unearthed a buried relic beneath Charybdian seas, an ancient refinery temple, lost to the ages, sacred to the machine god. Its reactivation breathed life into the Crusade's faltering lungs. From its depths flowed resources enough to sustain the imperial advance, and the furnace of war burned hot once more. Thus renewed, the Absolvers turned their wrath toward Ostia, the system's fertile agri-world, but where they had found defiance before, now they found darkness. Of all the battles fought during the Gilead Crusade, none would shape the chapter so profoundly, or leave such a bitter scar. The conquest of Ostia was not a triumph, but a tragedy. The void-port city of Yellum, once the breadbasket of the system, had become a battlefield. There, amidst the tyranny of rival chaos warlords, a population enslaved by whip and ritual clung to fading whispers of the Emperor, whom they still called the Lord of Dawn. In hidden shrines and whispered rites, his name endured. Deliverance came in the form of fire and ceramite. An entire company of Space Marines descended to purge Yellum and reclaim the Voidport. The people rejoiced, mistaking the descent of drop pods for salvation. But salvation did not come. Though the strike force fought with unmatched ferocity, something within them frayed. Resistance was fierce, but not extraordinary, yet the battle spiraled beyond control. Vox channels dissolved into wordless howls. Tactical coordination collapsed. The warriors of the Emperor, paragons of discipline, became something else, something monstrous. They butchered without pause or discernment. Heretic, civilian, brother. When silence finally returned to Yellum, only one battle brother stood amid the carnage. Some say it was Tigranas Dalir himself who struck him down, riddled with shame and fury, his blade becoming a judge's gavel. That the chapter master himself could be driven to such wrath, could be so close to the edge, frightened even those who had fought beside him for decades. The truth was undeniable. The red thirst had claimed them and the black rage had devoured them. A flaw ancient and unrelenting had emerged in full, a genetic curse wrought in the blood of Sanguinius. The same taint carried by all of his sons had now bared its teeth. But for it to claim an entire company in a single night, that was unprecedented. That was heresy made flesh. The events of Yellum were purged from official record, erased by decree. The few who knew the truth bore it in silence. Tigranas Dalir, shamed beyond words, took the oath to Gilead. His chapter would no longer roam the stars in search of glory. They would remain in Gilead, sworn to its protection, its purification, and its penance. Thus was the name chosen, the Absolvers. They would not seek honor. They would earn forgiveness. In the battles that followed, on Enoch, on Charybdion, in the abyssal black between systems, the Absolvers were thrown into the teeth of the storm. Time and again, they were hurled at impossible foes, tasked with impossible deeds, bleeding not for victory, but for atonement. When at last the crusade was concluded and the Gilead system restored to the light of the Imperium, the Absolvers returned not as heroes, but as penitents. Their numbers were diminished, their armor scarred, their legacy haunted. Of Tigranas Dalir no more is said. Neither the records of the Administratum nor the tomes of the chapters Librarius offer account of his end. Some whisper he walked into the Eye of Terror, others that he perished at the Emperor's feet in silent confession, but no proof remains. In his place rose Anthon Emascus, the Reforger, a warrior mason who began the long and painful work of rebuilding what had been broken. Under his rule, the chapter began again, not just to fight, but to remember and to atone. The Gilead Crusade is recalled with reverence across the segmentum, but within the halls of Castle Gregori, it is spoken of in whispers. For it was not merely a campaign of liberation. It was the crucible in which the Absolvers were born, not as champions of glory, but as sinners seeking redemption, shrouded in shame and clad in resolve.